Hello and welcome back to Operations with Void. This week we will be doing the recently returned Operation Hermes, and as requested we will be running the Richelieu, which was actually one of the ships you could run in the original Hermes before a bunch of changes were made to it. It used to be French battleships and Allied Tier 7 cruisers. Tier 8 French battleships and Allied Tier 7 cruisers. So it's kind of a ship that should be for Hermes, but because they buffed Hermes a little bit too much to introduce the... they buffed it and then they nerfed it and balance changes. Anyways, Hermes should be a good map for Richelieu. So, with that, we'll go into battle. So, with Hermes, there are two possible exits and two routes that go with them. For the north exit, really it doesn't really matter. The exits, only the route changes. The ships and spawnings are the same. The only thing that changes is the positions of where the ships spawn, except for the last group, because they all spawn in the same spot at the end. The allied ships are based on the composition, so because we have 3 battleships, the allied extra 2 bots are cruisers. Well, the first thing that you should do is make sure you have AA available to shoot down these fighters. If you do not shoot down these fighters, then the enemy aircraft, not only will there be an additional wave at the end, the aircraft will start attacking sooner before you even reach the heel, and there's just more total aircraft. So right now I'm looking to the north because the storm spawns in first, and so the storm, wherever the storm is, that is where the enemy ships will spawn. So with the west exit, that is actually, I just pointed on the map where the first spawn will be in the storm. If it's the north exit, and then the storm would have spawned on the left side, and that's where the first wave would have spawned. First wave's always in the storm. 2 destroyers and a Nuremberg. And there we go. We had a lovely bow on Citadel. It's probably the only way you're going to get a Citadel against Nuremberg in Richelieu. And so the first wave is always the storm side, and then all the other waves until the end are going to be on the other side. So after this wave is dealt with, the next wave will be on the left side. And it will also be 2 destroyers and a cruiser, but the cruiser will be a York instead. And since they're all German ships, well, they will all pen Richelieu's armor. So if you notice, I'm doing a break and then moving up. This is to avoid any torpedoes that may have been sent my way. I'll ignore that ping. Someone's messaging somewhere while I'm recording. Anyways, so now we're going to go, and we're going to... Now we're loading AP for the York. So as I said, the 2 destroyers and the cruiser are on the other side. And then behind them, the battleships will spawn. If you go too quickly, then the battleships will spawn early. So you don't want to spawn the battleships before the cruisers and destroyers are dealt with, unless you're trying to ruin the game or trying to speed run things. But usually, even trying to speed run, you spawn the battleships early. That's just an easy way to die. Now back onto the bots. The two bots, they are based on the composition of your team. As I said, we have 3 battleships, so that the two extra bots are cruisers. If you only have 2 allied battleships, then one of the bots will also be at a battleship. If you have 1 or 0 of your allies, then both of the bots will be battleships. And then if you start with less than a full team of 7, and there are no battleships, you could actually get a 3rd bot battleship. I haven't actually tried to see how many it takes, but when doing the 4-man runs on Hermes, and I've done it twice accidentally, both runs we had an extra bot to help us. And when we did it with no battleships, the 3 bots, it was Jean Bart, Richelieu, and Strasbourg were the 3 bot battleships. And if you notice, he's the cruiser in front of us, he's going more than quarter speed, so he's not actually hiding in his smoke. And so you're about to see what happens when you don't hide in your smoke. Yep, all the battleships were shooting at him. He got some torps off. And here I am. I was hoping to back up, but I didn't. But so since I'm in the way of the battleships, I'm going to move in the direction that will get me unstuck the fastest, which is forward. Which on the south route is not that bad because the healing circle actually extends past the island. So going forward like this, it's not actually that bad. And then, since it's a Richelieu, you can bow on and not take the AP shells from, well, any of the ships in ops except for Musashi model, because of the 32mm bow. So bowing in is not, well, it's the best thing to do. And we're going to just hold, yeah, see, we're already in the heal circle. Don't even need to use the heal. And by being out here, we can kind of tank, kind of spot when the ships, and we're also not in a position that we will be in danger from the aircraft. We can still help with the AA, even though Richelieu doesn't have that great AA, but we're not in danger to take aircraft damage and just focus on healing. And in front of where I am at is where 3 destroyers and 1 battleship will spawn, and so that's what I'm looking at, waiting for them to be in range. And now the Bayern there, the Richelieu can overmatch the nose of the Bayern, but I think I hit a turret with that overpen damage. And there, the destroyers are popping up. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to try and get back in with the main fleet. I don't know why I still have AP loaded, but I'm going to. And then Richelieu has decent secondaries. The issue is most of the good ones are all on the back. So when dealing with lighter ships and destroyers, sometimes it's better to kite with your rear of your ship facing them. And while I don't have manual secondaries, if you designate a target, the secondaries will focus on that one instead, if possible. And here we are, attracting all the torpedoes. So as much as I want to put my guns on, part of being a battleship is trying to survive. Because the secondary objective is for battleships to survive. Spoiler, I don't survive. So now we're trying to get our guns back on. We have AP queued up. We were only able to get one turret, so our AP is now going to be firing, loading one turret at a time, thanks to this, our skill, commander skill, reducing the reload. I can't believe I forgot the name of the skill. And there we go. We finally penetrated the nose and got a full pen. I'm not sure what the Alsace just shot at. It probably had the bot reflex. Enemy spotted, shoot at where guns are pointed, because guns should be pointed at an enemy. Yeah. Bot programming is weird. The Eugen and the Hipper up north, they do not have a set path. They will just nose in and bow in onto whatever the closest allied ship is. So if you send a ship over to the other side, a cruiser or a destroyer, then the Hipper and the Eugen will bow into this ship over there, allowing the rest of the team to get broadside shots. But in this case, nobody's going over there, so we are stuck with bow-on shots. And the Hipper and the Prince Eugen do not have Def AA equipped, they have Hydro equipped. So if you are in a carrier, you don't have to worry about the Def AA, only the fighter plane. But ships that are near them have to worry about the Hydro, spotting them at 6 kilometers, even if they're in smoke. So here, hanging back is actually a good tactic, and what I should have done is stayed about right where I am. Maybe a little bit closer, but stayed about right where I am is where what I should have done. Bow in, right here. But we're loading HE because the destroyers come first. Although the Parsifal is a secondary objective, primary objective comes first. So we need to be up here to deal with the destroyers. And this is where I make my mistake. I go charging in. And I see the third destroyer. And I think that's it. I forget about the fourth destroyer. So now I'm loading AP for the Parzival. Yeah, I completely forgot about the fourth destroyer. And I turned away. And this is where... And so I see the torpedoes. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm fine. Maybe I'm good. And then, just as the dying breath, torpedoes. Thank you. Thank you, Wargaming, for giving bots to be able to throw out torpedoes when they know they're going to die. And this is where we lost both of our two battleships and lost a star. So if I had stayed back and I hadn't charged away, so that's not something you should do, is charge up. If I had stayed back and not charged in, we would have saved the battleship, which playing a battleship in Hermes, sometimes it's better to just stay alive than it is to go for glory. So learn from my mistakes, not from your mistakes. But we do get the carrier. So if I had survived, it would have been a 5-star. And there are a limited number of ships at the end, so it is possible to kill all the ships, and often, sometimes if you kill them all, then you're just waiting for the Alsace to get to the spawn. And another thing is you need to make sure that you're not blocking Alsace. Now on the south route, that's not too much of an issue, but on the north route, it is a big issue for that. And you see, we're pretty far down on the team. Didn't get much damage in. Battleships don't get that good on Hermes. Cruisers are where it's at. If it's a battleship, it's an AA battleship. That is good. So, this is Hermes. This is Richelieu. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. If you like this video, feel free to like and put a like on it. I personally didn't like it that much, so I'm not going to complain if there's not many likes. If you like this channel, feel free to subscribe. With that, I hope to see you again next week. Have a good one.